Hey, thanks crafty YouTube friends for sticking with me to part 2 of the Gems and Friends Spring Fling Kickoff. So, once again, I'd like to tell you that we are sponsored by Elegant Embellishments Zibbet Store, and that's Dee's store, and then she also has Natasha's Scrapbook Corner, Which Craft Do You Do, One Little Dreamer, Spare Marbles Art Fire Store, Memory Making Crafts on Facebook, and the Cutting Cafe. So let me move my sign and let's get right to the final project that I have to share with you. And this is it. It is a configuration book box. And let me start here on the edge and tell you that I used a very, very pretty ruffledy, sparkly, and pearl black trim from Dee's store. Absolutely love this. I really like to use black on my projects, so I was delighted to receive that in my DT package. Then I also used this beautiful lady, and let me show you that Dee had bought us, all her design team girls, these bags from the Spare Marbles Art Fire store, and they have these beautiful vintage style ladies, and as you can see, I fussy cut the largest one out, and that is her, and I placed her to where she looks like she's sitting in the beautiful flowers, most of which came from Natasha's Scrapbook Corner. This is a stick pin I had in my stash. This purple flower is from Natasha's store, as is this white bud, these lavender satin flowers. There's another one there. And this stamens piece is from Natasha's store. She has these in a variety of colors, as these buds as well. She has them in a variety of colors. So I added a few of my own, but most of this is a beautiful array of flowers from Natasha's Scrapbook Corner. Now, as you could see, I made a half of a hot air balloon to go on the front of this configuration box, and I imagined it would go on someone's shelf or a coffee table of some sort, and the balloon would be a good conversation piece and definitely be very pretty to look at. So, obviously I started by making the balloon with the paper line, and I used Snow Tex to texturize all the edges of the balloon, and I just added a little bit of lavender paint to my Snow Tex so that it stayed with the color scheme. I added this flower as well as this flower, which are from Natasha's store. These metal filigree, well, not really filigree, but yeah, these metal pieces actually have a flower where I've glued this flower on, but they look kind of like wings. Anyway, I thought they were really beautiful on that that hot air balloon. Then in the middle is this amazing metal cameo piece, and I just used the texture on her as well. And this square filigree piece is from Dee's store, as are these little bling pieces that I added just to bring some added interest and to kind of tie in with this beautiful bling trim that Dee now carries in her store. She used to have a smaller one, and I loved that one, but actually this one for me is the more perfect size. So I used that, draped it all over the balloon, also used it to hold down the basket. And the basket is actually made of some square tiles that were sent in the DT package from Which Craft Do You Do. She actually gifted us quite a few wood pieces, and I needed to make a basket, and so those were perfect. I just put them all together. I layered some of Dee's lace, this ivory lace, black lace, and then of course the lavender, which is the same as right here. I just cut it. And then these two lavender flat backs are from Dee's store. They're new. And I had these little pieces in my stash. So I brought those out, and then I put some more of that Dee's Bling on the top of the basket. So there you go. That is the front of my configuration book box. Now I'm going to untie it here. I've got this beautiful lavender lace from Dee's store, and I used that as my closure. Let me show you real quickly that here on the edge of the box I used another one of Dee's scalloped laces and this lavender pearl trim, and I did that all around the box. So let me get this open. Here we go. And what I did on the inside of the book cover is I layered the papers, and the papers were very, very bright lavender, purples, and pinks, and I wanted to mute it down. So rather than gesso it up, I used this lace from Dee's store. It's a large, I think it's a 5-inch lace. So I layered 2 pieces of that on top, and it really muted down the color, and it looked very, very pretty. So I really like how that turned out. And I added these 2 flat backs here and these 2 flat backs here. I layered a lot of, well, 2 of Dee's laces here, and then a little bit of lavender there at the top. And this bag is functional. I left it open so that it could be used for pictures or whatnot. And this bag is also from the Spare Marbles Art Fire store. Very beautiful vintage style bags. And I added this little flat back that's from Dee's store. Really, really like this one, and I thought it looked really pretty on her hat. So those are beautiful bags, are available at the Spare Marbles Art Fire store. And the links to all the sponsors will be in the description box down below. So if you see anything you love and you have to have, you can definitely check that out. Okay, let me start in the top up here. And I decided to do this little box because I was inspired by this wood piece that was sent by Which Craft Do You Do? And it's a like a perfume bottle. And I just added this piece of bling, and this is the little bling piece from Dee's store right there. And then there's a little bit of bling from Dee's store here. This flat back right here is a pink flower from Dee's store, and I just layered some things on top of it to make my little bottles look more perfumey. This flower is from Natasha's store, and there is a metal filigree piece behind the Paris, and I textured that up, and that's from Dee's store. And then I layered this Paris on top, and that was a charm, a 7 Gypsies charm that was a purchase Dee made and gifted to all of us DT girls from Memory Making Crafts on Facebook. So all of my boxes are outlined with this pretty white trim that you can get at Dee's store. Love it. My next box has this corset, and this is also from Which Craft Do You Do? And I just used a fine-tipped marker, and I crisscrossed it to look as though it's tied. And then I just did a little distressing on it. This little spool, I distressed that and painted that up, added some lace, and on top of it sits this adorable little cherub head, and you can get this in Dee's store. The little hanger, also from Dee's store, and I added this little sewing machine from my stash. This little box has a beautiful rose cameo. There's a light bulb, a chess piece, and a domino. Oh, underneath that, I believe, yes, is a half of a, what is this? This is a rosette trim that was sent by Artie from the One Little Dreamer shop. This little box in the middle, these 2 pieces were just in my stash, and I thought they looked really cute there. This is an Eiffel Tower and a game piece and a clothespin. Then another tiny little box under here is this adorable little chair charm. And that's also sitting on one of those rosette pieces from Artie. And I wanted it to look kind of like a little rug underneath the chair. Super cute. Then in this box, this beautiful paper is from the Spare Marbles Art Buyer store. And she has a little collection. And these two beautiful vintage ladies are in there. And when I saw them, I knew I wanted to put them in one of these configuration boxes. And I added the penny farthing that you can get at Dee's store. And I had this little poodle in my stash. And there's a flower from Natasha's store. Inside here, I added some flatback hearts, also from Dee's store. And I thought those ladies looked like they were out on the street, and there was a bicycle there, and they had a poodle with them, and I just love how that turned out. Then over here, this is also from that same collection with the ladies, and it's a very faint writing, and to me, I don't know what it says, because I think it's written in French, but it looked like a sign for a window. So I wanted this, this box to look like it was a window display. I added this little handle, and that is from Dee's store. These flowers here are all from Natasha's Scrapbook Corner. This metal filigree piece from Dee's store, and this flatback flower is from Dee's store. And then this wood piece is from Which Craft Do You Do? And I just dressed her up like she was a window display, and this little flatback rose or flower is from Dee's store as well. And then I added these little shoes from my stash. All right, now I'm going to have to take you off the tripod. Sorry about that. And show you that down here, I had this travel ticket in my stash. I don't know where it came from. It says, ticket good for a lifetime of adventure. And I added this camera, and this was one of the items that was gifted to us by Dee from the Memory Making Crafts on Facebook. And then I have these little shoes. I've had these in my stash for a little while. They came with a, I entered a challenge and won, and that was part of the gift. There's another flower and another flower from Natasha's Scrapbook Corner. Then I have this pretty resin flower. This little piece is from Natasha's Scrapbook Corner. A couple of tickets and a bottle of wine. And then in this final little box, I have this beautiful cameo piece and cameo frame from both from Dee's store. This little perfume bottle, I broke off the charm holder and just set it next to the cameo, and then more flowers from Natasha's Scrapbook Corner and this little bow. And I am extremely happy with how this configuration book box turned out. I hope you like it. I'd love to hear your comments on it. I want to tell you that this is the last project for me for this event, and Dee is asking that after the final video is shown for this event, and that will be by Roseanne, that you go back to Dee's channel, and everything's going to be linked below. So you'll have easy access to return to Dee's channel and tell her which project that you liked the best of the whole event. I would be delighted if you liked something that I did, but if you prefer someone else's, we just want to know. We want the interaction with you guys, and we would love for you to tell us which project was the most fun for you, most inspiring, most beautiful, what have you. So definitely make sure you get back to Dee's channel to do that, make a comment, and each one of our sponsors, and I'm going to put this here, each one of our sponsors has donated something for the prize, and it's going to be a big surprise. So thanks so much for joining me, and we'll see you guys soon. Have a great day, and enjoy the Gems and Friends Spring Fling for the next several weeks. Bye!